Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it takes me out of the present. New moon waxing, full moon waning, crescent. Life cycles, teammates or rivals. Soul search, dangerous World War III, the goal's always survival. That's nature, day you're born when you meet your maker. Tears start chasing paper, burning trees or melting glaciers. But truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it's impossible to process, so I stay focused on my progress.
Welcome back to the Triple Captains podcast. Fresh back from a little long weekend away. Not the best of FPL game weeks, but we'll get into that. But yeah, how you man doing, Guffs?
I'm wondering where your hat, the cowboy hat, you're missing that for your outfit, bro. That's what I'm seeing. You got the high collar there. Where's the hat, bro?
Okay. Arc, how you doing? I don't know what to say to that type of comment there.
Yeah, I'm alright still. Still smarting from the weekend. Things didn't go to plan. Injuries and all sorts going on. Lots of questions and lots of thoughts in terms of what I need to do next, FPL wise.
So, Guffs, anything sensible to say now?
It was another sterile week. It is what it is. This game is just not really working out for me this year so far. Luckily, still very early on. I'm sure we'll come into that later on. But yeah, I mean, thankfully, everyone is sort of struggling right now, or at least the so-called main players. So all is not lost. I guess it's the only positive to sort of take from this game week. Yeah, all good.
I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, FPL was not the way I wanted it to go. When you're on a holiday and you're just sipping cocktails and then you're seeing scores and you're thinking, this is not what I planned. So I'm not gonna lie, I was pissed. But as an Arsenal fan,
you still won though.
Yeah, but I guess, like I said last week, even though I got more points than you, man, I wasn't happy with my game week. And it's the same again now. A bench boost. When you do a bench boost, you expect to do better than I did. And if anything, the bench boost just is a low scoring week, but it got me to, be above you, and it kept me in the game this week, so to speak. But I wasn't impressed by it, and a lot of things happened within my team, which we'll touch later. But made me, can't say it ruined my holiday totally, but it's like I acted on my bench boost. I saw the games on Saturday, and after I saw some of the things that happened, I just thought, F the rest of the games, just carried on my holiday. And then,
My heart bleeds.
I mean, in terms of our duel as competitors, the fuck?
You got there, son?
We're keeping that in, yeah?
What
was that?
Fuck this. Yeah. In terms of our
They
duel.
need to play that tune.
What's that?
They need to play that tune. There's a rat in the kitchen, what am I gonna do?
No, but in terms of...
I didn't see his face in it, so that... But yeah,
cool. in terms of the three captains duel, the bench boost slip I did on game week 1. I'm looking at both your teams thinking, boy, when you play that chip, I've got to neutralise it. You know what I mean? Because obviously you have that chip and I don't. So from a selfish standpoint, to see that your chip didn't work great, although you won the game week, I'm looking at it in terms of your bench didn't lick off the way that it could have done.
It definitely didn't lick off in the way that it could have done. But what I would say is, I knew going into this game week, with the games that were going to be played, it was a risk of doing it. So it wasn't like for you an accidental bench boost, as you claimed. it was a bench boost that I said, I don't care about this chip. I've got some decent players on my bench and they might do something. Let me just use it now. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll take it. And literally, it worked out in one sense, because if I didn't do the bench boost, I would have had a low par week and not been amongst the scorers. I'm not above the average points of that game week. And I am. So in that sense, it worked. And I believe I got more points than your bench boost did. But it just didn't speak numbers. Like I didn't really want to go into bench boost now, because we should do that when we're actually talking about our teams. But yeah.
Oh, you want to reload up some of the jabs, yeah?
It's not even that. It's just like I did a bench boost. I think I got.
No. I see you, man. I see you. Like, yeah.
Not even.
I got more than you
know
on
what
my
it
bench boost.
You see it now,
that's just.
yeah? You see it.
Okay. He can see what he wants to see,
Yeah.
but the fact
We
is,
all
what
see
you
it.
said
We all
was
see it.
that's cool. But as you said, you said that when you did your bench boost,
He's simmering.
blah blah
already. He's simmering.
blah. Okay, cool. So you said when I do my bench boost, blah blah blah. So it led me to think about your bench boost, and I actually thought, did you get more points than me? Then when I remembered you didn't, I was like, okay, so it doesn't really matter, because, like I've said, my benches for the last few game weeks have been high scoring. So I thought, it's going to be similar. I got a decent amount of points on the bench, but it weren't what I wanted. But my team overall was above the average score of the week, so I could move forward. I'm not too far out of it. And not to be funny, I'm still on page 1 of our league, so really you two shouldn't be telling me anything. That's the bottom line. Since you want me to throw jabs, I'll throw a couple hooks.
What are you being told about?
You're getting very defensive, my friend.
No, I'm not. You said.
I just said I was happy.
I didn't say. Whoa. I didn't say that you are throwing jabs. I didn't say that. No. I'm fine. I didn't say that you were throwing jabs. You misheard. I said since I'm throwing jabs, because that's what I was told I was doing now, right? So get it correct. But anyway, my point was.
Rotted. Man's upset already. Go on now.
That's how it comes across. Like I said,
it does.
I was on a long weekend away, and basically FPL does what FPL does, and then Arsenal did what I didn't want them to do, and I've come back from a holiday. For the viewers that are new, whoever out of the triple captains gets the most points hosts the show and opens it. Hence me hosting this one. It's now 3-1-1, still early days, but I think it's perfect time to go into the Arsenal game, the main game of the week, considering that was the other thing that tried to ruin my holiday. But it's amazing what a few cocktails can make you forget on a weekend away. But yeah, on to Arsenal.
Not that quickly. What's your favourite tipple? What did you have?
Oh. So I was on a cruise ship this weekend. So usually when I have cocktails, I go for the zombie. Everywhere I go, zombies are renowned everywhere. Everywhere you go, they know. You go to the cocktail menu and it's like whatever the price may be, 15, zombie 25. So that's where I start. But on the ship, on this occasion. No. and on this occasion, I was drinking something called painkiller, like the painkiller. And
oh wow!
Funny enough, FPL and Arsenal, I needed to relieve my pain.
You forgot about them afterwards, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So like the painkiller cocktails. If you touch a Royal Caribbean cruise, try them. That's what they're tasty. But yeah. Arsenal.
Yeah. Arsenal.
For me,
Arsenal.
I think I'm going to start off like this. I was annoyed on day 1, on the Saturday, when I see some of the antics that happened in those games, which I'll come on to after the Arsenal game. But I thought, you know what, F football, I'm just enjoying my holiday. And then when it came to the Sunday game,
You can't switch off.
Okay,
I know you, bruv.
I switched off, bro. I didn't watch any games after. Like, I definitely switched off. I didn't even watch. Okay, F it. Since you wanna tell me what I can and can't do, I'm not even starting for Arsenal, even though it's the biggest game. Alright.
This man's like
I'm the host. I'm the host this week, so I'm starting straight with the Chelsea game. I'm gonna do it in that order because it makes sense, right? So Saturday I done my bench boost as I've said. Game week started. Less than 10 minutes or around 10 minutes in, and seeing the donut of the week straight away come into effect. Sanchez, the donut of the week. 10 minutes in, comes and does some idiot thing and tried to ruin man's holiday. I was on cocktail number, that's irrelevant, but I'm on cocktail number whatever, and then I'm watching the game, sports bar, bare screens, and then I've actually turned to talk to someone, and then I'm heard the whistle blow. I've looked and I'm like, hold on a minute, what's going on here? And I've seen the replay and I'm like, this guy. You know when something, you already know your bench boost hasn't been going great, and then you get a red card as well? At that point, it was a turning point for me, where I was like, I'm done with football.
Painkiller number 10? Is that what you're saying, yeah?
Like, I basically said, F the football. I don't even need to watch any more games. Like, when the games are done, they're done. And I just ducked out. So I didn't even see the rest of the game fully, if I'm being completely honest. I just saw it after, when you watch highlights of the game.
Why would you? You had no players left in the game, would you?
Well, I did, but that's irrelevant. I had João Pedro. But yeah, I didn't really...
Everyone has him, but yeah.
Well, still had a player left in the game. But anyway, I just didn't care about the other games that was on. It was, you know what it is? You get to a point where you take a risk and you do a bench boost, and then you see some of the scores coming in and you're like, maybe I should have done it this week. Then your goalkeeper does that and you're like, no, this is taking the piss. This is not the way I wanted it to start. I've gone away for a long weekend knowing there's going to be a lot of tough games, taking a risk, and it started off dead. So let me just move on to my holiday. And then the next day I was hoping for better results, and it didn't happen. It really didn't happen. I was hoping for an Arsenal victory, and that didn't happen either. But
to be honest, I think that Sanchez is on the spectrum.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
He's just got those weird bozo moments in him.
Fully in it. Fully.
Nobody can predict why or when they're gonna occur. In fact,
It's crap.
I don't think there is a game. Yeah, maybe because I don't think there's a game that I've watched where he is playing where I haven't thought that he's gonna make a mistake.
He was at the level he should have been at. Brighton was his level. He had no right being any higher than that.
Do you know what?
I don't even think he should have been there. Like he just makes mad decisions.
This is what's real, yeah. He was only in my team because I wanted someone from Chelsea that I thought would be playing regularly, so I just opted for him. I've never rated him as a goalkeeper, and I tell you now, just like I did with Konsa when he was my donut of the week, immediately removed from my team after a dumb red. This donut got immediately removed from my team straight away. So he no longer be in my team, and he ain't coming back. Should never been in the first place. But I just thought that was my way in.
Personally,
there's this crazy pattern with you. And he done that to me, so you get that.
Personally.
But what I'm gonna say, since
if man goes missing, we know why, innit?
But since I've changed the
he looks
structure
like
around a bit,
from somewhere where you could do that still. Like, you come back from a holiday looking like a connect, my friend.
The plug in it, but
Yeah.
no, like, look, I know we usually start with the biggest game of the week, and I've sort of just jumped into the donut of the week. But I guess
We know you're emotional. It's all right.
if you look at it as emotional, but we was talking about questions led me to there, so I thought it made sense. So what I will just say is that when you're only 10 minutes into a game, and you're the goalkeeper of your team, and your team's relying on you to keep the ball out of the net. The worst thing you can do is come out running like a fool and making a rash challenge that can only be a red card and put your team
You
under
got
pressure.
the ball though, bro.
It was a red card, man. It was a red card.
But have some
Whether you
pity.
got-
Have some pity to the guy left of you, because the guy left of you in a red jumper, okay, who in my mind is the real don of the week. He took out Fernandez and brought in Cole Palmer. Fernandez gets 10 points. Cole Palmer gets 1 and he's injured. So like,
So what? You're basically saying I should have put Arc as a donut of the week? I didn't think of that still. I didn't think of that still.
I don't.
That would have been a good one still.
I don't
bruv.
think looking like Bart Simpson, you can call me a donut of the week. You need to chill. You really need to chill. But I don't know. With,
Mentioned the Black Bart Simpson,
yeah, I don't know. I think on a serious note, Sanchez that was a mad decision. Like, it's really difficult to understand like what is going through his head. And then obviously different things, it changes the scope of the game. But for me, it's weird because it just played into that weird hoodoo that United seem to have over Chelsea, which, to Guff's point, I made a point of the fact that there is this hoodoo that United have over Chelsea and so on, but I didn't really buy into it because, like I said, the times that I have watched Fernandez, I've been talking about it for a while, that I kind of feel like I need to take him out of the team. But in reality, when you look at the kind of points that he has scored, he's consistently scored points this season. So, definitely a misstep from me. Just like my friend Mr. Arteta.
Talking about Arteta, let's get into the main game week, because we're done with that donut, and I'm done with him too. He's at my team. But yeah, 1-1. My second day of my holiday.
My views on it. Game was there for the taking. Quite frustrating that we didn't get more out of it than we did. For me, there was one misstep made. I don't think that Marino and Trossard should have been played at the same time. I think that Eze can do what Trossard was doing on the left for us, but in a better way. Also, Eze's more mobile, and also he's got a bit more strength to him as well, and just general skill anyway. So I think from a competency point of view, he would have given us what Trossard offered. I do think that Trossard had a decent game. But I think that Eze could have done what he did better and given us a bit more surety. What I would say is that I still feel when I watch Eze, when he comes on for us, he does do good things, and it's about a trade-off, because I can also see some things that he does that I would imagine Arteta doesn't want or isn't feeling at this moment in time. But it's all about trade-offs. And I think that where he was at home, we should have gone with that trade-off. But he clearly went for security and form of players. So Trossard did good things when he came on the week before. He's obviously given him the nod. But like I say, I wouldn't have played him together with Marino, because I'm very much more focused on platforming players to have the right things around them. And I just don't think it was the right call. I do think at half-time, he definitely was going to make one sub, which clearly for me was Marino for Eze. The Noni one was the one that was forced. So we wouldn't have seen Saka quite as quickly. But I do think that he would have removed Marino for Eze. because actually when you watch the game and you see the way that City were playing, I did say it before the game, City have only really got two kind of attacking threats. Like you've got Haaland and you've got Doku. Outside of that, there isn't really anything to worry about. And that was the more frustrating thing about it. And when looking back at the game, I've looked at clips and so on. I think part of the problem is that if you actually analyse what happened on the field, part of where we went wrong was that actually we attempted to be two on the front foot, and that was how we had the turnover against us. Like if you actually look in that sequence, I think we had 8 ahead of the ball, or 8 in their half trying to press the ball, and that's how it got turned over and so on. Obviously, as a set piece, it was annoying. Calafori, his delivery was poor, and then that's when the turnover started. But you're talking about 8 people who are in their half trying to defend it. Like, it's nonsense. And then, obviously, we saw what happened between Saliba and Gabriel, which for me, I know you guys have heard it already, but they just had a bebop and rock steady moment for me. And once that happens, you're running uphill with water on your head, kind of thing. And so yeah, it was frustrating. It was good that we was able to pull it back out the bag and get the goal back. But it's one of those ones where you look at it and you know that actually, as we have done for a lot of games last season, we wasted 45 minutes. Like we need to get over the mental block of at home why we do that. But the point is better than losing, but we could have got so much more. That's my assessment of it. It's unfortunate about Madueke. He was doing a lot of good things. There are lots of things that happen in the game as well that actually when you look back at it and you reflect, you can see a lot of different chess moves that were being made. With regards to City, like they were effectively in a low block type mode from quite early in the game. And obviously us conceding just helped them to play like that. Like, you mean, in reality, we had City playing with X amount of big guys at the back. You've got Haaland defending for his life as well. Like, it was... I understand what Arteta was saying when he was going on about dominating, but we're talking about sterile domination as opposed to like attacking domination, which I believe is what everybody is looking for. But the discourse that I see in and around the Arsenal around this is a bit frustrating because for me, I feel that people don't analyse, they react to their preference on selection. They don't actually analyse what is actually happening on the field. Because if you watch what was happening on the field, then it's difficult to say some of the things that I hear. But that's not from all of the fan base, just some. Some of it is just reactions and social media, really. But yeah, outside of that, frustrating, 5 points behind. We go again, as they say. I said at the start of the season that it wouldn't be until 10 games in that we see the real Arsenal, and I haven't seen anything to make me feel that it's going to be any different. As long as we're in touching distance within the first 10, then I think we'll be all right. But let's see where we are.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, there's lots of things to kind of unpack in this game. Clearly, the lineup was incorrect because, you know, Arteta changed at half time. But to your point, Hots, I think that was almost... I think the first thing is that I think City surprised him a little bit. When you look at City's lineup, although they had lots of offensive players on the pitch, they set up, as Ark has already mentioned, in a low block for most of the game. And I don't think Arteta... I think he was kind of thrown off by the way City set up, which made his lineup even worse, right? Because, you know, had he known that City were going to play in that manner, I think he might have gone slightly more attacking. And the fact that City sat so deep and we had limited options in terms of our attacking prowess on the pitch, it became quite a stale contest in the first half. But, you know, I'm a little bit frustrated with what I'm seeing, and it's early in the season, and I'm hoping that we're going to go through the gears as the games go on. But, you know, we've seen before, you know, we're playing against some of the best teams in the world in the Premier League, and you can't expect to just pull back 5 point, 7 point, 8 point leads against teams like Liverpool who themselves haven't got into gear yet. You know, these are games that, you know, obviously there's no shame to draw against Man City, but I'm just a little bit frustrated in the way that we are approaching these games. And, you know, I've said before in this podcast, that midfield three that he's picked a few times this season already just doesn't work for me. And we're not getting any central creation because of that three in the middle. I like Marino. I think he's great at things that he does in box crashing, and he's got a lot of assets to his game. But what we lack with him, with Rice and Zubimendi, is someone who has the athleticism to kind of get up and down the pitch to kind of help us in transition. He just hasn't got it in his game. And what becomes our game is that it just sort of pass to the wings, get it in a box and hope for something happens, hope for a corner, hope for a free kick. And we're not getting any sort of free-flowing link-up play during the game. It's all bitty. And I think that I wouldn't mind that as much if we were playing Havertz, right? Because Havertz, I think, helps that, because Havertz will drop into spaces, he helps with link-up play. But when you've got a man like Gyökeres in your team playing up front, I just think that middle three just doesn't work with him as our striker. And we need someone...
But anyway, because of the low block that City played. Where they drop low, that nullifies everything that Gyökeres does anyway.
No, but I think that we missed someone who could sort of link and kind of get close to Gyökeres and at least provide some attempts to put some through balls through. You know, that's what Gyökeres thrives off. You know, he's not a Havertz type striker. So I just think that having that midfield three just doesn't work for him, doesn't work for the team in terms of creating chances. For me, that's what I see. You know, we had a lot of the ball. We had a lot of territorial advantage, but we didn't create that many clear-cut opportunities. And it's a common theme that's kind of happening right now. You know, on paper, we're going to say we had X amount of shots, but when I'm watching a game and I watch it back again, and I'm thinking, how many of those opportunities were really like clear-cut opportunities? We're not creating a huge amount of clear-cut opportunities, and I think that's largely because of we're limited in. Well, we're not limited. The way Arteta sets his team up makes us limited in terms of how we attack, and it's not good to watch. It's not particularly exciting. We've got people like Calafiori, who I like a lot. I think he's been really good this season for us, but he's like almost our main creator at times. It shouldn't be that way. You know, we need to get our best players on the pitch, and particularly at home, these are games that we should be approaching very differently. I don't know what we're scared of. It just feels like Arteta just wants that stability and wants to set his team up to be strong, to kind of ease way into the game, and it's really frustrating from my standpoint watching Arsenal right now. And
so when I was making that assessment a second ago, like I said something that wasn't having a dig at you, but really you almost just played exactly into what I'm saying. So there's a couple of things. Like, I think it's lazy to just be like, oh, they're scared, they're just playing for set pieces and all this kind of thing.
I didn't say set pieces.
Nonsense. Well, you did. You said that we're playing for corners and so on and so forth.
No, I didn't say that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You did. You can play it back when this is finished.
No, I didn't.
But you did.
No, I didn't.
You openly said that, you know, we're just going for this, we're just going for corners.
No. When I use the word scared, I didn't use it in context of corners and free kicks. We can happily watch it back and you are absolutely right.
I'm just saying that you talked about the fact that we play for corners and free kicks.
No, I said that we have no central creation, and when I watch Arsenal play football, there's nothing coming from the middle of the park. It's pass, get to the wide positions, cross it into the box, or opportunities from corners and free kicks. There's nothing happening from the centre of the pitch. all
Okay,
of our
so-
opportunities are
so hold on.
happening from wide positions or from crosses or corners. I'm not seeing anything happening from the middle
They
of the
were
park.
happening from wide positions because he had a team playing low block and they had 4 in midfield. So they were trying to stifle. Like, what I'm saying to you is that a lot of the analysis that happens is just reactionary to selected players. It's not
It's
about
not, though.
what you can see on the pitch.
It's not.
Because, so from minute 1, we had 6 players ahead of the ball. Like, it weren't a defensive approach to the way that we are playing. Now,
I've not said the word
I
defensive once.
struggle with everybody's assessment of the way that Arsenal play, because Arsenal have been playing like this for 2 to 3 years. Arsenal go out, they look to press, they look to counter press, and they look to break on that and do what they're doing from there. Now, you know, from 3 years ago, I was complaining about Odegaard saying that he doesn't create enough chances for us. Now, like you're saying that, oh, we didn't have any kind of creation from central midfield, etc., and it's just pass. When Eze came on, that didn't change. Right, so like we didn't create crazy things from centre when Eze came on.
Eze created a goal, did he not?
We're talking about for the entire 45 minutes, yeah? Like, are you saying that for the entire 45 minutes that Eze was on, we weren't passing side to side, going around to the wings?
No, what
and
I'm
crossing
saying
it?
is, no, it's not about, listen, I think what it is, you're kind of taking one thing and making another thing. I'm
not taking one thing and making anything. I don't conflate anything. You said that we just pass and cross.
Yeah, but you're
That's what you said.
No,
but did you say that?
Yeah, but you're taking it out of context.
You did.
Because the point I'm saying is this.
So what's the context?
When you have Marino, Rice, and Zubimendi on the pitch, okay, there's no one in the middle of the park to create centrally, okay? Because Marino's game is not to run through and slide rule pass to Gyökeres. That's not his game, right?
Nobody provided Gyökeres a slide rule pass. So why are we saying this? We're saying things that have not happened in 3 years.
I'm saying it's not in Marino's game to do that. Okay?
It doesn't matter because it's not in Odegaard's either. When does he slide rule pass anymore?
We're talking about the game.
When does he do it? Who does that in midfield for Arsenal?
Why are we talking about Odegaard for?
But who does it? Like, because it's all good saying that, oh, this is what you need. Who does that?
What was Eze brought into the club to do?
I don't know. Ask Arteta. Because he wasn't brought in to play Odegaard.
You're the defence team. So what was your Eze brought into the team to do?
What do you mean I'm the defence team?
Because I don't understand what's so difficult to understand here.
What I'm trying to say to you is that you've never seen Arsenal create for 2-3 years in the way that you're suggesting. So you're scapegoating
That's
Marino.
not true. I'm not scapegoating.
So when show me a slide rule pass.
Listen. I started by saying
slide rule pass.
I like Marino.
Come on, give me an idea of when it happened.
It's not about. You're being silly now.
I'm not. You're the one that's saying it. You're saying the guy hasn't got that in his game. What are you saying it for?
Eze,
who have you seen in Arsenal's midfield do a slide rule pass?
I've seen Eze put slide rule pass.
No, I'm not talking about Eze because he ain't done that for Arsenal. I'm talking about who have you seen in Arsenal midfield do that?
Listen, the point is this, okay? Listen, I don't know why you're talking about people that are not on the pitch. Why are you mentioning Odegaard for? Odegaard's injured,
why are you mentioning Marino all the time?
Because Marino's on the pitch. Marino's on the pitch.
Yeah, he's on the pitch and he's doing what he was told to do.
Exactly. Which is what?
He's told to lead the press. Did you not watch for most of the game?
So what I'm saying
him and Trossard were interchanging all of the time. Him and Madueke were interchanging all of the time.
This is the problem, yeah? This is the issue. You are taking it as if I have an issue with Marino, and you are taking it. I'm not. I don't. I started. No, I don't.
No. We know that you're trying to hold things out here, but you do have an issue.
No, I don't. No. Listen again. Listen back. Do. I started by saying I like Marino.
I know. Good. You say you like Arteta as well.
Marino does good things for the team. He has good skill set. But what I'm saying is, in a midfield three of Marino, Rice, and Zubimendi, we don't have someone in the middle of the park who can create chances. Okay? That is not Rice's game. It's not Marino's game. And Zubimendi sits deep. So what I'm saying is, in my midfield three, I would like one of the people in there whose natural game is to create chances. And it isn't Mourinho's game. It isn't Rice's. It isn't Mendes. So that's my issue. It's not a problem with Mourinho. I haven't got an issue with Mourinho. I like Mourinho. I think there are games when he can play. But that midfield three doesn't work for me. If it was away from home at the Etihad, I may feel differently, right? In a game where away from home to a big team and maybe you want to be more maybe more solid, fine. I still play Eze. I will still play. No. I'm saying at home.
Yes, you did.
What? No,
You just said I might feel differently if we was playing a big team with that midfield away from home. But when we did, you complained.
I complain because I don't like having that
You
midfield
complained
three.
for exactly the same reason. So either you're lying or you don't know what you're saying.
No. See, Ken, you're just being disingenuous. Okay.
I'm not
saying
being
to you.
disingenuous.
I'm
It's
saying
what
at
you
home.
just said.
I'm saying at home.
Yeah.
We should not be set up that way. Okay.
And then you
away
said
from home.
away from home, you'd be all right. But away from home, you wasn't.
See, again, you're changing my words. I did not say that.
No, I'm not.
I
So
said.
what did you say? You said away from home what?
Are you going to talk or listen? I don't know. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna talk.
Do you want to
when
talk?
I want to. So
When you
had your
soliloquy, I was quiet.
Yes, so was I.
I didn't say no.
Yes, so was I. When
you
you
couldn't
finished,
wait.
I spoke.
I hadn't
Right,
finished.
but again, you just said away from home you would be okay. Now you're saying you didn't say it.
No. I said away from home, I can understand it because you're away from home.
Okay. So you could understand
very
it when
different.
you played like that at Liverpool.
I didn't like it, but I can understand it.
No, but you could understand it.
I can understand why he did that. I wouldn't have done that. I would have still preferred to have Eze in a pitch, okay, personally. But at way to Liverpool, I can understand why he did that. But when you're at home, Man City, a team whose defence hasn't been great, you're at home. There's no reason to play that midfield.
You know, there's a running theme that every week you come on talking about every other team being rubbish, and then this happens.
Who said rubbish? It's not about being rubbish.
Last week you was going on about our City idea for the taking. You said the same thing with Liverpool.
And nothing's changed.
Like,
I don't think Man
what about
City.
Liverpool's
I
there for the taking?
don't think Man City are better than Arsenal. I think we have just as good a team. Exactly. So why are you going on? Why are you setting the team up which is set up to protect? Like, why are you not going for the jugular? We sat in a bar. We sat in a bar and watched Brighton, okay, completely annihilate Man City for 45 minutes. Okay, ball after ball after ball, completely exposed in their back line. Okay, we've sat here and had conversations about their right back Krishnov, who I think is trash. Okay, like, why are we not exposing these areas of the pitch? Why are we so concerned of what they can do when we should be really attacking their problems, which is their back line? Okay, and I appreciate that City set up in a low block and made it difficult for us, but it doesn't change the fact that we still put certain players on the pitch and didn't put Eze in a pitch. And for me, there's no need to do that. You're at home, go out there and put your offensive players on the pitch. Put players on the pitch that can get in around Gyökeres and support him, because like I was saying to you, week after week, he's out there on the island and has no support. Okay, and he's feeding off scraps. Gyökeres, he's feeding off scraps. He ain't getting any chances. No one's really creating for him. The only chances that's being created are balls thrown into the box. Like, I'm just seeing just these patterns of play, and it's boring to watch. And go on.
Gyökeres,
what I was going to say, because obviously you man have spoke for a little bit here. How I look at it is, when I watch Arsenal, I see us passing backwards a lot, and I don't really feel that side of our game. I think, like, obviously, I know we like to keep the ball, but I don't like us I want to look forwards rather than backwards. And I feel we do a lot of sideways
100%.
passing, and we do tend to like to go backwards. In regards to how we've played over the last few years, we never had a Gyökeres in our team. So I assume with Arteta buying someone of that caliber and a striker like that, you've got to be telling your midfield to be looking for him and trying to feed him. So even though we haven't done that for the last few years, it's something that needs to be considered. Otherwise, what was the point of buying him? We have a habit who can...
Balls go into Gyökeres, but they don't stick to
No, they
it.
don't, bruv.
They do.
We're turning
Yeah,
into some
bro.
habit.
Havertz.
And the guy also hasn't sorted out his feet yet. Like, I don't even want to get into like bashing Gyökeres, but this nonsense of no one's feeding him, like it's long.
But
That's
no,
not his
I don't
game,
think. At the end of the day, Havertz and Gyökeres are two different players. And as you said about Moreno, I think Arteta's not told him to come and do this and come and do that because he's obviously done what Arteta's told him to do. So maybe same way that Arteta's told Moreno to do whatever he's doing, he's told Gyökeres, these are your strengths, do what you're doing, and that's what he's doing. At the end of the day, he hasn't had loads of chances. He's got 3 and 5. It's not a bad start for him. He's still settling into the team, but when I see Eze produce that ball for Martinelli, I could just imagine Gyökeres on the bench thinking, why didn't I get a ball like that?
But
Why
Gyökeres
no one
was on
find
the
me
pitch.
like that? Say that again?
He was on the pitch.
Yeah, but he didn't get the ball, did he? That's what my point is.
No,
so my point is,
But that's
he
his
was-
fault. He's a striker. What's he doing in the offside position?
what do you mean?
If you watch back the clip, he's randomly in some offside position. Like
But I'm talking about through the
comes in off
game.
the right.
No one's fed him throughout the game, and no one's looked. I've seen positions where, and forget just this game. There's been times when players could put a through ball, but they don't do it. They either go backwards or sideways. So there's players are not naturally just looking to put a through ball through. And even if Gyökeres ain't playing, people like Martinelli, who is just pace, you should be looking at putting through balls for him too. So it's the same principle, but we don't play that way. And it's, as you said, we haven't played that way for seasons. But when you buy a striker who that is what he's good at, then you got to play that way. It just doesn't make sense not to try to add that into our game. But my whole point is, I see passing sideways, I see passing backwards, and I think we need to start thinking about going forward when we're playing sometimes. On top of that, I think that what I think Arteta's doing is he doesn't want to lose games. We can play strong defensively. We know I think we're the best defense in the league, personally. So we should, have a bit more faith in our defense and try to go forward. I would have personally started Eze. If it doesn't work with him in the midfield, then he could be rotated to Moreno. But I think it's a game where you want to have someone who, in your midfield, could have a strike from far. Like, he's someone that will attack the back line, someone that will shoot from distance, someone that will find the through ball. So he's someone that I'd rather do what City did. Go 1-0 up and then let us defend, rather than playing and just keeping the ball rather than trying to go forward with the ball. And that's what I see. But it is what it is. This is one of those games when you're playing top teams, I don't go in thinking... my opinion was that it would be a close game, Haaland would score and we'd probably win. But the bottom line is, it was a close game and we drew. And Haaland did score. So for me, it's not the end of the world, but I don't like what I'm seeing either. But I think Gyökeres needs time still. I think the team needs time still. But we're 5 points behind, so how much time do we need? We're playing Newcastle next. So what are we going to do then? Is he going to think, okay, let's play Eze and play Martinelli? Because you also said that Trossard deserved to start. So Martinelli scored, Eze got the through ball. Are they starting next game?
Yeah, so I guess we will get into games coming up for the game week 6 at some point. I think that Martinelli he scored 2 goals in the last 2 games. He can't do anything more to earn a start. Whether he will or not, I don't know, because so on one hand, if you think about it and you think, well, Martinelli against Trippier, you would say, yeah, let's go for that. Like, I want to see that and see what he can do or whatnot.
He'll probably be Livramento.
Maybe even that. If it's against Liverpool, then he needs to play Eze instead. Because Martinelli, he has problems when he plays against somebody that can physically deal with it and has got the same kind of pace. But for me,
Who would play in the centre then?
So for me, I don't know, because maybe Odegaard will be back. But for me, I feel like the biggest misstep of the game was that he played those two. So he played Trossard and Marino. I don't think that he should have played the two of those together. Like there's a lot of unnecessary focus on Marino. Like, and I'm not necessarily saying that's a Guffs thing or whatever. Not, I'm saying just the vitriol that we've got online and stuff like this is all about.
As you know, I like Marino.
All about this.
Because I like Marino. But for me, even if you're going to play one of the two, then I would have played Eze in the middle and then Trossard then, or Martinelli and Eze. I wouldn't. For me, it's not about Moreno. It's just like Eze is that guy in it. Like, not being funny, but none of those.
For me, I said it before. I haven't seen Eze playing on the right. I haven't seen him playing right hand side 8. And every time I've seen him play in the 10 position, I've never really seen him do anything particularly wonderful there. That said, like, I'm not saying that he can't do it or whatever not, but to the point that you guys were making before, like, we don't really have a lot of time to be experimenting. So, and that's an issue that I have
played. I don't see them doing anything great there. So that's, to me, it doesn't make a difference. I just look at the quality of the player, and I just know Eze's
but
better.
The issue is the trade-off for what. I'm not saying that this is correct, but I'm saying that the way that Arteta wants to play, right? Like, and that's the reason why Odegaard is so important to the way that he's trying to play. Like, the way that he wants to play, he's all about counter-pressing and pressing from the front, right? So for him, what it appears is that he believes that the only other midfielder that he's got that can remotely do anything like Odegaard in that out of possession scenario is Marino. Now, clearly there are trade-offs because, to your point, Guffs, Marino is not going to create in the same way as Odegaard, right? He's not as dynamic as him. Like, he's not necessarily got that skill set, although he has got a smart pass in him for different things. Like, he's done some things before. He's put balls through for people before, but that's been on the transition, right? The issue is that when you play Marino, like I was saying before, you need to platform players. So in the same way that you guys have mentioned, you're like, well, Gyökeres, his strengths are either put him through or he's going to transition, like doing channel running, etc., right, and do what he does. So the reason I was talking about City nullifying him was more because City effectively had 4 Blench centre-backs, low blocked, with a low block in front of that as well. So it makes it difficult because he's got no space to run into. So even if we thread something through to, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that anybody threaded a ball through to him. Like, but even if we threaded a ball through at the weekend, like, it's very difficult for him to win because he'd be 1v3, like, or even 1v4, depending on where he is.
What I have noticed about him, is that he's always looking for the run or the space, though. So, like, even me myself, if I was on the pitch, I'm looking at this guy's always making the run, always trying to make the run. And I've seen other teams, like, not as good as us, do that same thing. I see Henderson do it last game week, where he just looked up once, and he said it in his in the interview after the game, and then he looked up the second time and just released the ball. And sometimes you just got to just have trust in the striker, just go for it. Like, but look, we're Arsenal fans, so we've spoken about Arsenal for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the last thing I would say on it, is that, you know, the best games I've seen Marino have for an Arsenal shirt have been when he's been as a striker. You know, last season was when he was playing at the back end of last season as a striker. He played really well for us, right? Generally, as a midfielder for us, he hasn't been that great for us during his tenure at Arsenal. So I don't think, you know, I can lean on any sort of, like, you know, any sort of sections of game of last season to say, oh, he was great in playing in an 8 over the course of 3 or 4 games last season for Arsenal. So for me, I don't know what, other than what he's done for Spain, where Spain play a similar style, but they play faster. For Arsenal, he hasn't been particularly great in the middle of the park for us. So, you know, I understand why he's playing him. I get it. I understand what he's trying to achieve with the press. But Personally, I don't want to see them feel free. It doesn't work for me. And you know, of course, I will support Arteta. You know, obviously Arteta when he wants to win a game of football, he doesn't go to a game not wanting to win. He wants to win. I get that.
So let me just say one thing here. I don't mind seeing that midfield free, but I want to see that midfield free when we're winning games. If we're up 1-0, 2-0 or whatever, and it's like 70 minutes and we're like, okay, we've got the lead, let's start resting some of the creative players or stuff like that. I don't mind having that team because Moreno can still, he's still got options of going forward. We know he can play up top, so he's got that in him where he can get a goal. But I just personally won't start that way because when you're playing teams of high quality, you don't get a lot of chances. So I want players in the team who can get something out of nothing, so to speak. So maybe if Gyökeres gets through and goal, as much as people want to talk about, how he's settled in and all of this type of bullshit, he's got 3 and 5. If he gets an opportunity on a one-on-one, I'm confident he scores it. Like if he's put through, do you get my point? That's just me. On top of that, I think if Eze gets an opportunity to shoot, he may shoot. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I just look at it as it's like Saka. Obviously, Saka's only just come back, but there's certain players in our team that I just think they can be match winners. If you don't start with those type of players and you start steady and solid, and then it gets into the 80th minute, because we've had a lot of these games when we're trying to get late goals or we go 1-0 down. Since we're talking about over the last few seasons, we'll be losing and then all of a sudden we're up for it. But why not just start like that? That's my thing. Sometimes just start how you mean to go on, and then you can start slowing things down a bit and securing it up and be more solid and rely on our solid defence. But look, we're here to talk FPL, not just Arsenal. We'll be talking about Arsenal all day. So, that was the big game of the weekend. Let's just quickly touch on the champions of last season who are 5 points clear now. They done what they had to do and got 3 points on the board.
They won the game, innit? They always win. Everton competed, they tried hard, but they're overmatched. Liverpool, generally always win that game, particularly at home.
Well, we all predicted it anyway.
They go over the line, innit? I mean, it is what it is, man. I think,
I think Liverpool go as far as say I said 2-1. So, that game was we all predicted the victory and they got it. It's business as usual, I guess.
at the end of the day, when you look at Liverpool's first 5 games, outside of the Arsenal game, you look at the games they played, you expect them to win those games, right? They're doing what they should be doing. And they got points on the board. We had a very tough start to the season. We knew that before the ball was kicked. So for us, as it stands right now, we're probably on par. But I think we're now in a situation where we have to beat Newcastle now for me. And if we do that, then I think that we're okay. But, Liverpool, they look dangerous. It's hard to sort of, to not accept that. And
they've still got Isaac to come in properly as well. So
if
you're being honest, you've got to look at them as favourites of the league.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's 5 points. It's 5 points now, and in reality, I see them dropping points. So it's just about who's going to drop more now, and they've got the advantage. But hopefully, we've got to look at it. We've played City, we've played Liverpool. We're about to play Newcastle.
Man United away.
Then after that, for us. Yeah, exactly. So going forward, it's our time not to make no errors and hopefully get some points, 3 points continuously and go on a good run. And in that time, players like Gyökeres and the team can just gel together. But look, we've touched on the games. Let's move on to our teams.
Difficult one. There's a couple of things that happened. Obviously, I've got a couple of Chelsea players that all went Pete Tong for, keeping the villains didn't help either. So it's just a real one of resetting. So we've got a couple of injuries as well. Obviously, Madueke, Palmer, I think he's come back, but he's going to be out for 3 to 6 weeks as well. So major surgery is needed to these lot. Tosin, I didn't believe was going to be a rotation risk, especially not for that game. But obviously, he was rotated out. And even when coming on, because they went down to 10 men, obviously they conceded again. So it just meant that he got nothing anyway. So all in all, it's just a real moment of clarity to be like, nah, all of this needs to be overhauled and let's see where we can go to next.
Wildcard, yeah? What are you telling me?
If the hand is forced, I don't even think that it would be possible not to do it as it stands because of the injuries that we've got, unless I was to take hits. But that would lower me even further into the depths of hell. So I doubt very much that that's what I'm going to be doing. So the reality is that, wildcard is more than likely to be what happens. I haven't hit that button, but again, like I say, if you go through the team, it's like there is logic behind some of it, but there's only so much time that you can put blind faith into different players and so on. So, for instance, the Watkins and Konza scenario, Villa just are, they're not at the races whatsoever. I can't justify keeping any of them. Doing so would just be complete blind hope and faith that something else is going to happen. Richards did well for me, got Decon points again, which bumped it up slightly, otherwise it would have been worse. And obviously we had the injury with Madueke. Palmer, same scenario as well. Gakpo didn't bring anything in, and like I say, Watkins was even worse by actually watching the highlights of the game and seeing some of the open goals that he decided to just, I can't even call them a miss. I don't know what he was doing with them. So, like I say, it's major surgery that is required, even to the point where some of the people on my bench a couple of weeks back, I said that I was slightly worried about Spence. What happens when Udogie becomes fit again? Whether Frank is going to start going with him instead, so it'll become a minute's worry for me. And so I thought, so has happened. And so again, all just points to time for a refresh. So, as you know, I spoke last week about the fact that I didn't really want to go down the chip route until at least game week 8. However, everybody's got a plan until they get a punch in the face. And definitely been punched in the face. So it's one of those.
To be honest, I'm a bit surprised you haven't activated your wild card already. Because, as you know, I'm a person that focuses on money, and some of those players would have dropped already right now. So if you're going to do it, would have made sense to just have done it straight away. You still are on. Just
I don't watch the money. I'm not a trader. But ultimately, it's just a game that we're playing, right? I will try and make it work. I do get it, and I understand different ways that different people play it. And I know that team value is a big thing to many. Doesn't really bother me. I'll find a way to juggle it. If I go ahead with that, it could be that I decide, well, I'll take a hit because I want to use a different chip. But I guess we'll talk strategies a bit later on. But yeah, for me, definitely a time to reset, regardless of what strategy I move forward with.
I mean, for me, I think I'm in a similar boat to you, really, Arc, to be honest with you. I mean, I had an okay game. No, I can't call it okay. It was a bad game week. Another bad game week. Saved by Bruno, really, in many ways. You know, his 10 points kind of made it somewhat respectable, I guess. But, you know, I'm looking around my team and I've got, you know, too many players who are out of form. And my worry is money, you know. And I've pushed the button already on the wildcard. So, you know, it's got to the point now where enough's enough, really, for me. And yeah, I need to sort of like make some big changes really. Watkins
Is there anybody in your team that you felt to yourself, oh, actually, like under it all, they're performing for me, definitely a keeper type thing? I know you've been talking about the fact that you may want Haaland at some point. But how do you feel about, for instance, salary, etc.? Do you think there's still value in having him and that kind of thing?
Do you know what? Initially, what I done, to be transparent, is that obviously I didn't do a change last week because I had this plan to do 2 changes this week. And initially, what I'd done is I took out Watkins, I took out Salah, and I actually brought in Haaland, and I brought in Xavi Simons from Spurs because they got a home game against Wolves, and I thought, hey, this could be one of those games where, because I always plan to do the wildcard in game week 7. I thought it might be a nice little 1 week little gamble. Xavi against home against Wolves. Wolves are trash. No one will have Simmons. Maybe I can get a little quick uplift before my wild card. But the problem was players are going up and going down quickly, and my value of my team is going in the trash. And if I had left it another week, by the time that I want to do my wild card, the players that I want to put in my team, I couldn't get in my team. So it was like I had to just basically make a decision. And, I have to go now because, the frustrating thing is that I was going to bring in Palmer in my team, but then Palmer got injured. Suddenly, my whole tactic of the reason why I was going to do a wild card has changed. Saka, he's back, but is he going to be at full steam? Are they going to manage his minutes? I know obviously Madueke is injured, but they might try and play Ethan and share minutes for a little bit to try and protect him.
No.
So all these kind of things.
Got a lot of minutes on that wing. So.
Yeah, all these things are playing to my mind, and I just thought, you know what? Let me just play the wild card, protect the value, and get my team right. The biggest reason why I didn't want to do the wild card this game week was because I wanted to basically go with 2 Arsenal at the back, and I didn't want to do it this game week away to Newcastle. I kind of wanted to wait until game week 7 when the good run begins, but my hand's been forced. But yeah, like Arsenal, it's game week 5 and there's still a long way to go, but I don't want to fall too far behind. I need to kind of get going now. Because some of the better players at that top end of the league are kind of edging towards a 100-point gap over me, and it has to kind of, I have to sort of stop bleeding now. So that's where I am.
From what you were saying earlier, Sanchez is only going to be banned for 1 game, right? So ultimately, he's okay for the league match, the next game.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I can't remember how they class it, but he gets a 1-match ban, so he just missed a cup game.
Okay.
Well, talking about Sanchez, so obviously Sanchez got me a -3. So I activated my bench boost. When I activated my bench boost, I was thinking that, I've got Palace, I've got Spurs defenders on my bench. I thought Palace could get a potential clean sheet and it would be good, and Spurs could too. I don't really respect the bench boost as much as I respect other chips, and I kept on being tired of seeing my bench having the points it's got, especially when I've already wildcarded and I potentially will start rotating players in my team. So it'll be a case of, let me just get this chip out of the way. And I thought maybe I might be able to just get those points this week. And, as you can see, I got 13 points or something. It's not the end of the world because of Gay, but and the Bravka obviously done okay, but the rest didn't work out for me bench wise, and it didn't help with that donut of the week getting a -3. But funny enough, in the last game week, I was basically saying that all my defenders performed, my front line all performed. The only thing that let me down was my midfield. And then this week, it was my midfield that came through, and none of my front line did anything, and Livramento was the only one that got the clean sheet. But I
suppose that goes back to the point you made before, right? Where you were saying that when you wildcarded, you were doing it for the long term to try and spread the balance of the team, which
correct.
Obviously that's what you get. Like some weeks you will have that where the defenders don't perform, but you've got what your midfield does, then like you'll still get at least the average mark and something I wish I'd done myself.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to aim for. Like, I usually like around the 50 to 60 mark minimum in a game. And funny enough, if I didn't bench boost this week, I would have not been in that. So in one sense, my bench boost saved me points wise for this game week, but it's not what I wanted for my bench. But in a low scoring week, I'll take it. As you already know, Sanchez came out my team instantly, so he's not my number one keeper no more. And I heard your question, Guffs, so I'll answer it. Chris Wood has got Sunderland next, right? So when you ask me what do I think of Chris Wood, I think he's a decent striker. I think obviously they're in transition, but like I took out Nico Williams this week and he scored. I took him out for Gay, so I still got points anyway. But I knew he could do something in this game. I felt it because they had a game that I thought they would have do bits in, and I thought Wood would. But I think that Wood will probably score next week against Sunderland. So, he's gone quiet for a few games. He did that last season. He'll have a few games when he scores and he'll be quiet for a bit. So I don't think if you've got Wood and you want to keep him in your team, you have to get him out of your team. If you're going to do that, you might as well wait until after the Sunderland game, unless you've got different plans, obviously. But just to be direct in the answer of what I think of Wood, I think that Wood's an okay striker, but I'm not feeling Nottingham Forest. And after that Sunderland game, I wouldn't want him in my team. And how I feel at the moment, if you remember when I did the Wildcard, especially you, Guffs, when you was like, am I happy with it or whatever you were saying, I made it clear I was going to do minuses anyway. So I felt it was the right time to do the wildcard because I know when it comes to me doing minuses, I'll do what I have to do. And I'm in a situation where I believe that this week you're going to see a glimpse of the old hardcore hots coming back onto your screens. But again, I need it to work if I do it. So I just got to be smart with it because if I'm going to take minuses in a game week, where there's potential use of chips, it could backfire. And as much as it's early days, I've liked to be the one opening the show, if I'm being honest.
If you were doing a wild card right now, how much of your team would change?
I guess it's a hard question to answer on the spot because I'm not doing a wild card. But what I would say is, I'm put it this way. I'm a person that will just do what I want. So, for example, Sanchez didn't need to come out my team, right? Because he's not suspended. And his next game's at home. But to me, he had to go. So he's gone. So if I was thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I may have been more strategic with it. But what I would say is that maybe 3 or 4. The thing is, when I've done my wildcard game weeks ago now, so when I've done my wildcard game weeks ago, it puts you in a situation where things change. Injuries have happened. Different fixtures are in play. So it wouldn't be more than half my team, but I would definitely look to, make 4 or 5 if it was just. To be honest, when it's a free change for your whole team, you tend to want to change your whole team because it might just mend better for the fixtures in that game week. So that's a bit of a weird question because the game weeks coming up are different from the game weeks coming up when I've done it. So God knows, but I probably would keep at least half of my team still because I like my team. But I'd look at the fixtures and make the right decisions based on fixtures. And if I'm using my wildcard, not only am I making my decision on fixtures, but I'm also making my decision on making money too. So that's the difference. I think maybe out of the three of us, I'm the one that concentrates on money the most. And I think that has worked for me in my history of FPL. Because when it comes to that second half of the season, it's good to have that amount of money when you're using your second wildcard, etc. But we could, still want to get the points on the board, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, we go into next week, and at that point, we'll see how it goes. I think before we even focus on the next week, the man himself, Arc. Have you
Yes,
got
indeedy. Yes, it's
some
time
stuff
for
for
that
us?
point of the week. Yes.
Yes,
So
man.
this week, prepping for game week 6, delved into some fun facts that we might want to look at or take into account with everything that's going on. It's clear that game week 6 is a week where there's lots going on, lots of thoughts and ideas around different strategies that people are going to take. I'd imagine that game week 6 is going to be quite high scoring with what everybody is trying to do. So there's a few things in there, a few little snippets for people to take into account before we go ahead into game week 6. So without further ado,
no days off, no days off, no days off, no days off.
Did you ever hear the story about Leon? I said Leon, they said Leon. He was from the flats that the jack kids be on. Before the cats they had they cracked a fiend on. They say on the street he a fiend on. When he squeezed on, it's phenomenal. Make a change off a name like a hitman, and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. Then you'll have
It's game week 6. Time to use one of the chips at the casino. The wildcards are flying, the triple captains are burning. Here's where the real edges live, fixture by fixture. For Manchester City versus Burnley, it's the triple captain fire starter. Burnley aren't just leaking goals, they're leaking chances. This is as good as any single game week to go. If we look at the data, Burnley have got the highest XGA in the league, 10.23. It means they're conceding almost 2 expected goals per match. They've also faced the most shots in the division. And for what it's worth, Haaland has scored 6 goals in the last 3 Premier League games against them. And at the Etihad, we expect the points to be a printing press. If you're burning your triple captain early, this is the one where the mathematics back you. Captain Haaland here, and you're with the tide. Fade him, and you're betting against maths, history, and variance all at once. Chelsea versus Brighton. Minutes over models. Models can love a fixture, but if your minutes aren't safe, it's just a mirage. Brighton have conceded 8 goals in 4 games, with one of the highest open play XGAs outside the bottom 3. Chelsea's talisman, Palmer, he's injured. 3 to 6 weeks. This fixture screams volatility, turnovers, high press, and open space. But the upside means nothing if your key man isn't fit. Wildcarding into this game week without Palmer being fit is like chasing ghosts, not points. Newcastle versus the Arsenal, the hinge match. Control wins titles, transitions win game weeks. When we look at the data, Newcastle in the top 5 for high turnovers created. Arsenal top 3 for the fewest shots conceded. Last 4 Premier League meetings at St James's Park have produced 5 red cards. The real context to all of this, Newcastle thrive on chaos, Arsenal on control. One slip in midfield, and this flips the fixture entirely. Don't chase the clean sheets here. Chase the players who benefit when the game breaks. Palace versus Paul. Space versus structure. Selhurst shrinks the pitch, so your best bet is to pick the player who stretches it. If we look at the data, Palace have conceded 42 shots in the box. That's the 6th worst in the league. Salah has scored 9 goals and got 5 assists against them in 16 Premier League games. When we look at context, Palace compress, Liverpool expand. If you're swerving Haaland, Salah is your floor. Wide forwards and playmakers like Pino or Gakpo are the ceiling chase. Forget the early kickoff curse. The only curse here is ignoring Salah's history. Villa versus Fulham. Dam break economics. You're not buying form, you're buying the moment it starts. And if, like me, you've been burnt by Watkins and Villa, it's equally important for you to remember the pain to avoid trying to be clever. Villa have got 1 goal in 5 Premier League matches, despite averaging 1.2 XG per game. With Watkins, he's got 0 goals, 0 assists. Severe underperformance against expected returns. Fulham, they concede central chances and cutbacks. It's exactly Ollie's hunting ground. But until Villa convert, it's faith over science. If you think the dam's about to break, you buy now. If not, you'll be glad you held all your chips. And just remember, chips are weapons, not crutches. In game week 6, play them where the fixture gives you leverage, not where the timeline gives you light.
Yeah, some interesting stats there. I guess that's the right time to lead us into the strategies we're contemplating or people will be contemplating this week. You know what? Since we're talking the strategies and you had the stats there, Arc, why don't you start on this one?
Yeah, I guess this week is one of those weeks where it appears as though many people are going to be using their wildcard. I could be one of them, or the triple captain for Haaland against Burnley. It's one of those. I don't think you can go wrong with that. But you can only really go Haaland triple captain if you were one of the wildcarders on like game week 4, that type of thing. Because if you wildcard now, you can't triple captain as well at the same time. So from my perspective, strategies that I've been contemplating are quite binary. So either I take some hits and then I triple captain Haaland, or I go wildcard and I would then be looking to triple captain in game week 15, which is when City play Sunderland at home. Bench boost, I'm kind of the same way that you think Hots. I don't really have a lot of love or respect for it because it's never really done anything for me. Always tried to do logical things with it, wait for double game weeks and so on. And then I end up getting outscored by people that had single games and so on. So it's one of those ones where I'm not really going to put that much thought into it this season in terms of where I do it. And for me, this week, there'd be no point me doing free hit, etc. Because I'd still have the same problems that we've already seen in what we were doing. So I tried to, with strategy, that was the reason why I brought Palmer in this week. I didn't expect Palmer to do great, like against United, but I expected him to remain fit and then be available for the games afterwards, which like I could see when Chelsea were going to come into a particular type of run. And what I'm doing at the moment from a strategic point of view is I'm just trying to line players up that allow me to play in a pattern. So for instance, if I brought Palmer in, it would have meant that he's an easy swap with Haaland when it comes to a captain choice. So Haaland's got about 3 games where it would make no sense not to put him as captain. And then he's got hard. But once he goes into those harder games, Palmer would have had 2 quite soft games for Chelsea that were at home and so on. But clearly he's injured now, so I'll need to go back to the drawing board with that. There's no value in me going for Pedro because everybody has got him. So I'm chasing, which means I need to see if there is some kind of upside that I can go for, which I can only really go for if the visuals back up the data that I can see, which puts me at a disadvantage because this weekend I didn't even watch most of the games. I was that upset and I had different things that I was doing, including the Rum Festival that I spoke to. But yeah, from a strategic point of view, definitely it will be one of those 2 things. I'll either take hits or I will go with the wild card. But the reality is that I think it will be the wildcard. There's too many changes that are needed in my team for me not to do it, kind of thing. Because I don't have free transfers stored up because I tried to be smart with the Palmer move.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. Last week when I was saying that Haaland potentially will score past Arsenal, I was thinking, should I put Salah out for Palmer and Haaland in now? But then I thought, like, I don't want to go against Arsenal, which is sometimes when you've got to think about your team. But also, I just felt like I didn't want to rush in because of the fact that I knew Haaland would be going up. And obviously, in hindsight, Haaland got his goal, but Palmer got injured. So, where I've already used a, wildcard, I would have been like having to get Palmer out of my team now. So, in the end, it was a good decision, I guess. But Haaland is just rising and rising. So, it's mental.
And I think more of there will be a clear template now going forwards. I think everybody has been faffing about with different players and so on, including myself. But we will now see more of a template. And we'll see how that lasts.
Because saying what you just said there is right. Because as you said, a lot of people will be wildcarding this game week. You know, there's people like, I guess myself and Guffs who haven't got Haaland. So if you're going to want him in the team, you're either going to be like hardcore hots and just do minuses, or if you've got your wildcard him in. So like, there's still going to be people that might not bring him in because their strategy is not going with Haaland and sticking to Salah because midfielders get more points. Like did that last season where I didn't have Haaland at all, and he had a good run and then he fell off a little bit, which he could potentially still do. I think Burnley, people were expecting Haaland to just go and just get a hat trick and just smash them, but it's not 100% guaranteed. So, I'm not saying not to triple captain him. I'm not saying that if I put him in, I won't triple captain him because I'm not going to use a wildcard to get him in. But I wouldn't, like, anything can happen. And it might even be a safer for the people wildcarding to not have to triple captain him because they can't. And they might get lucky. So who knows? Like you said, with the bench boost chip, it's the same with triple captains. You just don't know when it's the right time to use it. The one thing I'd add for the people who are sort of new to FPL, I don't value the bench boost in the first half of the season because there's no possibility of double game weeks. Whereas in the second half of the season, even if it might still not work, you have the potential to have double game weeks out of it. So then that's when I value it a bit more than I do now. But this bench boost in the first half of the season, to me, is probably the weakest chip. So that's why I just got out of the way. But,
ironically, it was probably the best time to do it in game week 1 or game week 2, where we've seen other players that have used it and they're higher up in the league now. But looking into
when they did it back to them.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was the best. I mean, if I should have built my team. Anyway, it happened. It is what it is. In terms of game week 6, very similar to Arc. I mean, I think that my hand isn't forced. Like, I think that my team would still have been a good team by the 2 changes that I spoke about before. I think bringing in Haaland and Simmons probably would have been a decent change to make. I still have got Wood against Sunderland. I still got Pedro against Brighton. But again, in terms of the long-term strategy, I can see that people were already bringing players in and taking players out, and I had to make the move and do the wildcard. I had no choice because I can't just sacrifice my long-term strategy trying to chase one game week. It just doesn't make any sense. So I've played the wildcard,
You know, 300,000 people have played the wildcard already.
Well, I can see why. I think a lot of people have got sort of similar-ish players. I think most of the game went with Salah as the sort of the choice between. So like it makes sense that now people are now going the other way now, right? And I think the difference between touch on Hot's point, the difference between this season and last season in terms of the Haaland Salah, the Haaland Salah thing. Last season, Salah was in form, and was banging in goals. This season, he's just not getting the chances. And I mean, he's already come out and said, on other occasions that, he knows that this year he's not doing the same kind of running metrics as he did last year. He's just there to just be a killer, And you're seeing it in games. He's on the peripheral. And Salah's always capable of getting points. Don't get me wrong. He's still going to get goals. He's on penalties. But I just think that Haaland is just a better asset to him in this year, in my opinion.
Listen, I'm not going to lie here. If we look at from now, over the next 10 game weeks, not 5, because obviously City has a bit of better fixtures, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Salah does do better than he's done. It's 5 games in. I couldn't say 5 because I think City's got easier games. But my point is, I wouldn't be surprised if Salah picks up at some point because he can't continuously be doing what he's doing, in my opinion, anyway. But I just think that the form of Haaland right now and the fact that Salah is more than Haaland, there's no way I want Salah to be dropping and I'm getting 14.5 and he's 14.4. That'll piss man off. So the strength of that alone, I would be watching that if I was a Salah owner. But I don't think there's going to be enough people taking him out just yet that he's going to drop. But Haaland has been put in as much as it looks like he has been. As I pointed out, he already knew how many people did the wildcard. That's why we call him the stat man. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that, if I'm honest. So that was
the Haaland thing is interesting. But sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was actually just saying that was interesting when you said that. I was like, raw, because I didn't even think to look at that.
One of the things that is frustrating for me is so before the season I looked into the stats and I had said with Haaland he starts the season strong, and obviously I picked him. But when you just look back and you have certain regrets, because I'm like, times where I should have just left it, he was a set and go with the captaincy.
100%.
And I didn't do that for 2, maybe even 3 weeks, which, it's frustrating. But you live and learn. Obviously, you don't always try and chase. But
do you know what's mad?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. I was going to say, obviously, a man can't tell a man how to, manage their team.
Yep.
But with Haaland in your team, I felt like I got let off a few times when you didn't captain him. There's a few times when I was like, before the game week started, because obviously we tell each other quite openly, or tell the viewers quite openly, roughly what we're doing. So when you opted against the Haaland one, I was like, this might be a lucky one for me because I can see Haaland in mad form and Salah's not. But I got some of the logic. I got why the Gakpo one was a risk because literally he looks good at the beginning of the season and you're trying to have a differential. Last week, the Watkins one, it was a bit of that was the one when I was like, didn't captain Haaland. I was rubbing my hands.
No, but that was actually a mistake when I had done that. But last week's one was definitely a heart over mind thing because they're playing my team. I was very clear on that. I was like, nah, I'm not captaining against my own team. But, and it's a funny thing. You also
said that Guffs has jinxed them as well. You remember? You said that. Why did you say that? And then he went and scored. I thought about when you said it too. So we could blame Guffs.
The funniest thing about Haaland, right, is, because Arsenal have played well against him, Like I think there's this like thought process that Gabriel and Saliba always shut him out. And the reality is they don't. Like in most games that we played them, Haaland has scored. Like it's just one of those things. It's like 1 and 2 times they've been able to shut him out. Even when we slapped them, I think he still scored. It's but even that game, I think I mentioned it when I was doing the whole StatMan thing, or it may have been on my personal channel. Like we scored 5 goals in that game, but we only had an XG of like 1.3. Like so, we were just super clinical on the day. Like when we got into that final.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. That when we slap big teams, it's because we finish everything on our breakfast plate.
Mm.
And that's what I was saying. And it's not often that we're just gonna go to Liverpool or City or. I'll stick to big teams, so I can't even say Man U. But we're not gonna just go to certain teams and just batter them. It's just not how it works unless we're clinical. And yeah, but yeah, look, I think we're all on the same page. We're all thinking it's a wild card for most. Triple captain if you've got Haaland. And I guess if you haven't got Haaland, who are you going to captain, I guess? There's a few options. I think it's a tough one because I think Spurs, it's hard to pick who in the Spurs team to captain because for someone like me, I've got Kudos. I've got Porro who's winding me up, and VDV, and I don't know, man. Kudos still hasn't got a goal. He's due a goal, but would I want to captain him? Not really. So I guess if you haven't got Haaland and you've got Salah, you would just captain Salah. Personally, that's my honest opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that it's if you've got Haaland in your team, then you have to pick Haaland captain. You know, I understand why maybe some people who are chasing might want to sort of, you know, go with an outside pick, but he's an obvious pick this game week. But yeah, I mean, Spurs to me had the best fixture. I mean, Wolves seem to be the slapping boys this season, right? Defensively, they were over the shop.
If you was in a wild card and it wasn't including Haaland, who from Spurs would you put in and captain? That's my sort of. We're talking captains right now. Who would you captain from Spurs? Because what is Richarlison starting up top for them? Is it Xavi, their best midfielder currently, or is it Kudos? Would you captain them against Wolves?
I don't think
I would be brave enough.
I don't have faith in anyone in Spurs. I think Richarlison will play because I don't think their new striker is quite there yet physically. Xavi Simons is a really, really big dark horse, but he was on the bench against Brighton. But when he came on the pitch, he looked dangerous, albeit he missed a few decent opportunities. But yeah, you're right. There's no one in Spurs that can really, really put your hat on, to be honest with you.
So we saying if it's not Haaland,
I think Salah has to be.
If
Albeit
you ain't got Haaland in your
team,
if you ain't got Haaland in your team, then I'm assuming you got Salah. There's actually a few people that I know that haven't got both because their team is proper solid all round. But you know, majority has one of the other.
I think João Pedro is an outside bet.
Well, Palmer would have been, but he's out. That's the funniest thing. But Pedro, he was going to be the third person, I say. So like, it was going to be a top 3 for me. I'd say.
And obviously, Wood's not in great form, but they have got Sunderland at home. So he's the other one that maybe you might go with. But you know,
I don't know why you're trying to give man's my little tip, like about Wood. I might have tried to do a differential this week. You never know, you know. Trying to keep that one on the quiet.
But I think thing is, I think people look at Sunderland and think, oh, it's Sunderland, but they've been pretty solid. They've done it right so far.
Yeah,
anyone
they'll be away. They'll be away at Nottingham Forest.
Well, they shut at Palace, didn't they? So you know they're no mugs.
And they shut them out with 10 men. What I would say about Sunderland, yeah,
Villa. What?
yeah. But anyway, I knew you meant. But look, I was about to say rate Sunderland. Let me not carried away. I think Sunderland. Well, I picked a few of their players at the beginning, right? And that's because I felt that they will be good, and they've been surprisingly quite good. Obviously, who knows how long it will last, but they're not at the bottom of the table, so I'm sure they're happy right now, and I'm sure going into that game they're going to have some belief that they can get a point at least, so it'll be interesting. Forest haven't shown me nothing since Andrew's gone in.
So no one going for Fernandes as a captain. They're playing Brentford.
Do you know what it is? He's not in my team, and as much as he got the goal the other day, I just don't see him getting. He's always capable of a goal,
and
Brentford,
he's on pens. He's nailed for 90.
100%. It's mad because Brentford
And on my
a weaker
wildcard, I
team.
might actually be getting him back in.
You know what? You wouldn't be dumb to do that. He actually is someone that, he's someone that I wouldn't mind in my squad, to be honest. Like, see, for me, if I'm taking minuses this week, I've got to be doing it for Haaland. That's the reality. And there's no one else in if I'm gonna take minuses, it's got to be for Haaland, because everyone's gonna have a Haaland. All these wildcards, all these people triple captaining. So, it's pretty obvious that I'm gonna have to go for Haaland if I'm gonna be in that mix of that. Because what I haven't liked is seeing certain things happening and saying, let me not do the minuses yet. Let me not do this. I've had enough of that. As you said, the template's there. I'm known for not having it and just taking minuses whenever I feel like it. And I actually said that when I did the wild card, it was because I knew I didn't want to take the minuses I was going to take then at that time. When at that time where I want to take minuses. And I could have done it last week, and I would have had Haaland and Palmer as part of that. I missed out on a goal, but I missed out on an injury. This is the game week for me to do it. So I'm
The
not
thing
going to
is,
say...
what I would say, yeah, like, Salah has a decent record at Selhurst Park, and
As per the segment.
and I think that if you're going to be taking a -4, -8 to bring in Haaland and not Salah, then I think you also have to take into consideration that is he going to outscore Salah by more than 4 points? Do you mean? Because obviously that has to factor in terms of the change, right? And in reality, if Salah gets a goal and an assist, or even just a goal, then Haaland has to do quite a lot in order to justify the -4. So,
So let me just answer that for me, from where I'm coming from. I'm going to let you know right now. I don't look at things the exact same way as you, right? How I look at things is everyone's wildcarding this week. Players are dropping in price and going up in price. Even though Ark said he's not a trader, I'm not Harry Redknapp. I'm not a trader, I'm a football manager. Right? And the bottom line is this. The more money I have, the more I'm going to be able to do with my team eventually. So if it means while people are doing wildcards, I want to change my strategy, what are the people without wildcards going to be doing? Taking minuses. So if you're doing wildcards or minuses, when is it right for hardcore hots to come back out from the surface and just say, I'm still about that life. It's this game week. So I'm going to be looking to put people in my team who are wanting my team long term. So even if it's a case that I've taken a minus and Salah goes and outscores Haaland. Okay. But this time, the team that I'm going to have is going to be the team that I'm looking to hold for a while. Obviously, there's always going to be additions because I'm playing to fixtures too, because that's one of my tactics. And I'm always got a minus hanging around. But I'm going to let you know, I'm planning to make a lot of changes this week. And you mentioned -8. Like, I've been known to do more than a -8. I don't even think a -8 is going to be that much this week. If you look at people that ain't wildcarding, they're going to be taking a -4. So if I did a -8, it's just 4 points extra. And because I like to throw out the jabs, I can afford to take a -8 this week. One of you guys might end up being the host next week, but whoever does become the host, if it's not me, to catch me, I've got a gap. So I think it's the right time for me to do it, And I'm gonna. I'm looking at players going up, and I guess we'll wait and see how many I actually do. But there's players that I want in my team, not because I want them in this week necessarily, but I ain't watching them go up again and then just waiting for later. I'll just take a minus this week because it's the tactical way to do it, in my opinion. So, yeah. Anyone out there thinking, I don't want to take too much minuses because of this, because of that, just know players are going up. Loads of people are going to be doing minuses this week if they ain't got wildcards. So, become part of the hardcore team. Literally. Do it this week. There's no point waiting until next week and doing minuses. That's for sure. But yeah. I think that's that and the chip strategies. Unless anyone else has got anything else to add.
No, you're the host.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I might not be next week. If you men are both wildcarding, I'm going to be at a disadvantage from the off. But yeah.
We'll find a way to mess up so that you're still on your stage, don't worry.
Listen, if you get more points than me next week, I'll class it as an epic fail on my part. So, if you're taking -8s and stuff, well, we'll see what you actually do. But,
You know what? I think that I won't allow myself to go crazier than a -8 this week. So,
to dare is to do, Hots. To dare is to do.
You know what? Yeah, you man are like, I'm not him.
Call him man Spurs.
Like, huh? What did you say? Sorry.
Call him man
Say that
Spurs.
again?
No.
So look, I'll keep it super real. Like, I'm not Guffs. I don't do dares and then do a dare and then just do, you know what I mean? That's
Talk
not
to me
me.
for it. He said it, not me. Man's bringing
No,
man into
I'm
it.
saying no. Right, all right. I'll explain. Right. You took a dare because you thought I dared you and you took the dare. What I'm saying is my daring and all this stuff don't work with me. This is the bottom line. I've already taken a -8. How about that? I've already taken a -8 because I don't watch players go up in value like some guy that's worried about the cash. I'm out here. What? He's going up, and I want him in my team. Get in there now. So I'm already on a -8. So that's the answer to that. So the viewers, be prepared to see what I've done. And let's see if these men are going to take that -8 advantage and host the show next week or not. And that's where I'll leave the chip strategy.
So you're leaving with them counter overhands and stuff here.
Come
Let's
on.
see if these men
You lot was moaning about jabs. I had to come
are able to
Move it, bro.
open the show up. Okay.
Well, if one of you opened the shop this week, it'll be 3-2-1, right? So I'll still be top. So it's the best time to also do the minuses, eh?
I think I can probably guess what he's done. Probably.
I can probably guess what you're gonna do, but it's irrelevant, right?
We don't need to guess what he's done. He's basically told us, right? Like,
Well,
because
obviously
he's
Haaland
that guy,
has made
innit?
changes.
Pardon?
My only question is,
Yeah, but did he just say Haaland's one of my changes? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Haaland's one of your changes. It's one of the majority of people's changes, right? So tell us
My only
something
thing
we
is,
don't know.
Has he gone with Saka as well, because
Well,
No,
everyone's
you need
going to be
do
looking
too
at
much
Saka now.
surgery
Is
to do that.
you think so?
Says who?
You think so? I know.
Okay, I'm even going to go deeper for you lot and the viewers and that. And we don't stay on the chips for this long usually, but this is how I'm going to give these guys a reminder. I had 2 free changes anyway, and I've still done a -8. So I could get anyone I felt like, because my P's was up. So if I wanted Saka and Haaland, I could do it. Just so you know. So you lot can guess all you want to guess. But there's nothing I couldn't have done. I had 4 changes and I've made 4 changes, 2 free changes, -8, buy any player I wanted, and that's that. So Saka is a good move, you know. Madu's like out. Saka's going to start. He's going to play. Usually he always played him. So, but hey, this man like Ethan lurking, and he does play him on that wing. So it might be a rotation risk. But yeah, we'll see what I've done. Let's That's enough chip strategy. I've given away my tactic of the week. So now these men know. If, for example, if Art chooses not to do the wild card, he now knows I've -8. So like, sometimes you just gotta let the cat out of the bag or whatever the phrase may be. So yeah.
Okay. I guess it's time to see the dreaded league table, right? Let's go for it.
Wow, there's been some movement around that top 3. Gonna win still top, holding on. You know, we've got Posh 911 still second, but up into third. Your Vert's Nightmare. Nice team name that. Nice one, Mark. I like the name there. Top 3. Let's see the bottom 3. Cheeky Jerry United. Oh man, them names there. 2 peak for you. What? He's off the bottom. I guess he had a glim of hope. Glim is now bottom. Glim. It's looking good, mate. But yeah, well done I did say to a man like 2 peak for you. He's trying a thing and he might get off, and he did. What was the highest points this week? I swear I saw 72. You won't catch me. I believe you rose up into 5th place, and I believe you got the highest points this week. To be honest, that's quite a high scoring point for this game week, because this game week was a very low game week. So to have that much points, you must have potentially used a chip or something. But good for you. We don't really open the teams that's not in the top 3 or the bottom 3 to laugh at them. So we'll just give you your praise for getting your points without checking whatever you did. But well done to you.
So -8.
Yeah, so I've done a -8. We're all captaining Haaland. We're all captaining Haaland this week.
The hunt is on.
Yeah, -8. We're all captaining Haaland this week. You might have got the advantage. So, you know, I'm still trying, obviously, to host the show next week, but it potentially could be one of you two. Let's see who it's going to be. Mini leagues getting interesting. There's been some changes at the bottom. Will there be some changes at the top? Will you guys get onto the first page and stay on the first page and rep the triple captains the way you men are?
Little jabs. He loves. He
Come
can't
on, man.
help himself.
You've got to throw them in. It's the end of the show. You gotta throw them jabs in before the show ends, mate. You gotta throw the jabs in so the viewers want to see. They don't want me to be like, oh, well done, lads. You know, I really like the way you're representing the pod. They want to. They're watching this and they're seeing what they're seeing, bro. I've had people saying stuff to me.
I'm glad it's coming out because
I'm being real. I've had people say to me,
apparently.
No. Forget all that. Because you see how you talking. That's cool, but see how you talking there. Like I'm the host. I'm doing an outro. I didn't say nothing when you're talking. So what I'm saying is, people have actually tried it, and I've had to defend it and say you look dumb. I could start low. It doesn't really matter. It's the beginning of the season. I've been hundreds of points behind and rose and won leagues. So like it is a jab, 110%. It is a jab, and I'm gonna throw jabs. That's what we're meant to do. But
You hearing this humble talk?
I'm buying who? I didn't hear that part. What? I was talking. What did you say?
I said to Ark, you hearing this humble talk, yeah?
It's not humble. I threw my jabs. At the end of the day, let's be real. I'm getting people saying to me that you guys are the triple captains. I'm not even in the greatest position. I'm not happy where I am. Do you get it? So like the reality is, people are gonna try it. This is reality. People try it. They chat. Not even chatting shit. People are gonna think, who is Guffs or who is Arc or who's hot to tell me anything if they're above us? That's the reality. That is the truth, bro. As much as you can say I throw jabs, people try it, and I'm gonna be one of the captains, hopefully, to shut those people up. That's what I'm about. So like, they can say what they want to me now while they're above me, but let's see where they are and where I am at the end of the season. The league is there for everyone to see, and they can see the gap. And right now, there's one person that can run his mouth. Gonna win. But the question is he gonna win? We shall find out. But look, it's a Triple Captains podcast. I was your host with my other two hosts here that don't look happy with me because of what I pointed out. But it's life. When they're hosting next week, because I've taken a -8, if they manage to do it, they can say what they want to say.
Setting up your
and they won't be
caveating what's happening.
Takes skill, huh? It takes skill, man. It takes skill. But listen, on a serious note, shout out to man like at Guffs, FPL
Before you shut down, one thing I want to sort of say.
No problem.
If people are watching this show, thank you very much for supporting the show. We appreciate the support. And for those who are watching the show and not subscribing, please do subscribe. It means a great deal to us. We put a lot of effort into putting the show together, and your support and a simple click means a lot to us. So please do support, please do subscribe and follow the journey. So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But Hot, you carry on.
I didn't really need you to say that, because on my outro as the host, I was going to say that. That's what I was alluding to. I was just letting them know our socials first. It's nothing. I'm just being honest. I was just letting them know our socials first, and then I was going to say that. But since you interrupted me as the host, and I kindly let you speak, I hope if you're the host next week and I do it, you don't make a big song and dance about it. There's like the last time you hosted, you made a big song and dance of my comments. So hopefully you acknowledge that when I was about to do my outro, you went and said the obvious, which I say most weeks. Like, subscribe. The Triple Captains. And your host of this week is out.
The chest in this guy. Okay, cool.
He's still talking, but I said, we're out.
Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds,